Hey guys, I want to show you kind of a cool, hidden away, not so normally visited site in Jerusalem. And I'm with my friends David and Ugo and Caitlin from University of the Holy Land, and we're out exploring today. And so, just a little bit of where we are real fast. So number one, we're in Jerusalem. Over there, if we could go look directly behind those walls and grass, is the old city of Jerusalem. And we can't see it right now, but if we could look directly through there, you would see the southern wall of the Temple Mount, where the temple obviously once was, but now the Dome of the Rock is there in Al-Aqsa Mosque. Over there, where you see that church right there, that is the Mount of Olives, and sort of in between us and the Mount of Olives is a famous Arab neighborhood called Silwan. But the Mount of Olives is back there, and now we are looking at the Valley of Gehenna, which obviously Jesus talked a lot about as imagery for hell. And in this valley, all sorts of bad things happened historically. Kings unfortunately sacrificed their children here to the god of Molech by burning them. Trash was thrown out here and it was burnt. They had leper colonies that would live down over there in that region. So there was separation between the lepers and civilization in the city, and they could even see each other. I mean, just think of the agony of even seeing where you once were, and now you're separated. So just kind of crazy. So much history, all sorts of things that happened here. So that's just a little bit of random stuff. One more random thing before I show you the site. When Jesus preached, let's see, okay, right down there real fast. You see that? That is a Muslim man praying. And if you look back there, which you can't see it right now, that's where the Temple Mount is. And just a random side note, it's very interesting because Muslims claim that, Jerusalem is extremely important to them. Well, in the Hebrew scriptures in the Bible, Jerusalem is mentioned 806 times. In the Quran, 0. Absolutely not mentioned once. And what's interesting is Muslims, when they pray their 5 times a day, they don't face Jerusalem, they don't face the Dome of the Rock, which they say is so special to them. They face Mecca. So there's a real life example. You just saw a man facing with his back towards supposedly one of their most holy sites, and instead praying towards Mecca, versus the Jews every day are at the Wailing Wall wailing, wishing to return to their ancestral place of worship. So anyways, that was not expected. Okay, so here we are again. Here's the Valley of Gehenna. There's Silwan, Mount of Olives back there, and then the Valley of Gehenna again that Jesus uses imagery. Now, when Jesus preached the Sermon on the Mount, he was up in the Galilee, which is beautiful. But one of the things that happens is every year right around now, during springtime, these babies start to pop up everywhere. The lilies of the field, and they are just everywhere. Now here we only have a couple examples, but these are the flowers that Jesus says, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink. For look at the birds of the air, they do not toil or spin, and yet your Father takes care of them. And look at the lilies of the field. Not even Solomon was arrayed in glory like one of these was. And if God cares for these, how much more will he care for you? So those are the lilies, and we're just looking at them here in this random field. Okay, that is a lot of stuff. That's not even on the point. This just happens to be the random things about here in Jerusalem. Now, here is a very less often visited site, and right down there, behind those walls, was found a tomb during the time of Jesus from a man that we read about in the New Testament called Annas. And he was the high priest around 6 AD, so when Jesus was just a little boy. And his children later on, Caiaphas and others, eventually become the high priest as well. So his tomb was found down there, and then up here we found a whole complex of tombs as well. So let's take a look. Now, Jerusalem throughout history has been destroyed and conquered and rebuilt up, and destroyed and conquered again and rebuilt up. So this site has definitely faced the effects of that. And as you'll be able to tell, not a lot of people visit this place, but it's pretty cool. So when you come in, the first thing that we noticed, at least, these stones are Herodian. So after the model of how King Herod built. So although they're just slightly smaller than, well, they are smaller than the normal stones he built, but that style is his style. So this was built very soon after King Herod. the Great, probably by one of his sons. Now here are some tombs from 2,000 years ago. Just kind of a cool little cavern here. So we're gonna hike down in, take a quick look. Okay, so these would be slots that they would put the body in, either head first or feet first. It didn't really matter. And then they would let the body sit in there for a year and it would decompose. And then they would collect the bones. So the phrase "to be gathered to one's fathers" most likely is from that idea, where your bones would eventually be collected to your forefathers, and they would be put in either a bone box or they would just be thrown, well, placed into a cavern with the bones of your ancestors. And a story where that comes to life for us is when a body is thrown on top of the bones of Elijah the prophet, or Elisha the prophet. The body resurrects. Well, they were throwing him into the area where the bones normally go because they were in a rush. So he landed on the bones of Elisha. Okay, so here's more. Again, one of those like just amazing looking caverns. All right, now here, this doesn't look like anything special, but this inscription, it's been destroyed, over so much time, but this inscription is the same exact inscription found in the high priest's tomb, which was over there, Annas. And so it appears to be that this was most likely an extension of the rest of his family. So here we are. I know it's ugly, guys, but it's still history and it's pretty cool. I haven't been down here yet. Nope, doesn't go anywhere. So there we have it. History coming to life in Israel. There's evidence of the Crusaders building on top of this as well. Oh, that actually scared me, guys. There was a big pigeon that just... All right, so these are the Herodian Stones. And then over there, you start to have Crusader and also even like Muslim period. You can ride a bike. I'm sure you can get a good deal on that. I'm sure the seller's motivated. And now we're coming out. And it's so odd because Gehenom has such a bad history, and yet I don't know what you guys think of it, but I think it's beautiful now with the flowers and the valley. Here we are. Some more of the flowers. And there we go again. From Jerusalem. Enjoy, everybody.